Hi, this is Reverend Dr. Nadine Rosechild-Sullivan coming to you with a reading from my book, Passing the Baton, Birth Control, Precondition of the Liberation of Women. And I'm reading a short section this video. This begins on page 38 and it is entitled Impregnation as Abuse as Control of a Woman or Girl. In my years of ministry and in my general life experience, I have known really good fathers, really good mothers, really good, well-prepared couples, and really loving families. But also in my years of ministry, it has become apparent that deceitful or damaged human beings can put their best relationship foot forward for quite some time, and that human libido is not the best judge of human character. Let that sink in a moment. Who you're attracted to, your sex drive, may not be the best judge of human character. Think back across your lifespan. Strangers in the night across the crowded room? What did the character of that person turn out to be various times? Okay. When people are sexually attracted, the person to whom they feel that attraction may not always be the best choice with whom to co-parent, but they rarely know that at the outset. And sometimes before a woman can fully assess a partner's character, which can take months or even years, she is already pregnant. If a man is not a good man, not a good partner, but is domineering and controlling and wants to trap a woman and thus violate her freedom of choice, one form of pre-planned abuse may be to complain about condoms, get her to trust his skills at withdrawal, also known as coitus interruptus or pulling out. And then if he fears her abandonment, if he senses her emotionally pulling away and thus potentially escaping from his control, have one or more inexplicable contraceptive accident and fail oh so apologetically to pull out in time. Oops. Now this door swings both ways. There are also controlling and insecure women in this world, and while they may play the dominance game differently, there are women who seek to trap a man by lying about being on hormonal contraception and planning to get pregnant. Men who do not want to be trapped or who are not ready to be fathers at this time with this woman also need to assess the character of the woman and women in whom they are releasing sperm, and to keep themselves from releasing or leaking, because that's possible too, sperm intravaginally by using the male-controlled method of birth control, the condom, until they are ready to have a planned child with a chosen woman whom they have ascertained will make a good mother to their child or children. If the woman thus impregnated has moral qualms about the morning after pill, emergency contraception, or abortion, or does not have access to choice, or if the man can convince her to give him just one more chance and spin the tale in which a baby fixes everything wrong between them, he is in her life and her child's life for life. You can never truly be done with someone with whom you procreate. Never. Whenever any woman has a baby with any man, that man is or can be at his own discretion in that child's life or life. There is a certain biological truth to this, and there is a definitive legal truth to it. Fathers have paternal rights, even as mothers have maternal rights. Both individuals have parental rights. If he is a good man, she will likely want him there, fulfilling his role as father, helping parent and provide. If he is a bad man, whether she wants him there or not, he will damage the child or children that she bears, either by his absence or by his presence. The converse is also true. If a man procreates with a woman who is unfit to be a mother, he and the children he has through her will both suffer. But in this discussion, we are on the topic of a woman deciding, if she knows in time, whether or not to carry the embryo of an abuser to term. And so we will limit our discussion to the one side. Even if she, recognizing that they as a couple are not right for each other, even if she personally walks away, a man still has parental rights and can assert them through the family court system and a paternity test. And he can, if he so desires, use his rights to the child or children she chooses to carry to or near term as a fulcrum with which to control and dominate her life. If he is a bad man and an unworthy father, he can punish her through her children, both those that are his and those that are not, if he has any access to them. Whether she stays or goes, he can manipulate the child or children into rejecting her most cherished values, into seeing her hard work for their financial well-being as her choosing job or career over them, into seeing any human foible she may have as something that invalidates her as a person or as a mother. He can alienate her child or children's affections, telling them if she won't be with him, what a bitch their mommy is for breaking up their family, or if she stays with him, what a bitch their mommy is for burning dinner. Through various forms of abuse, physical, sexual, psychological, emotional, even financial, he may pressure her to distance herself from her other child or children, insisting she ship off ones that aren't his to their birth father or fathers or extended family. He can punish her by physically, verbally, emotionally, and sexually abusing her child or children, hers alone and theirs jointly, and only rarely lose his parental custody or visitation rights. And if she firmly leaves him, he can frame any new romantic relationships that she has and as another way that mommy doesn't care for you because she is just a self-centered bitch, while presenting his new woman as the perfect replacement mom that makes him and his new relationship the perfect nuclear parenting unit. And then we'll stop there for this section and pick up in our next reading with paternal rights in the family court system. So just remember, whomever you have a child with has rights, and we'll get to what happens in the court system, but has rights, and you're looking at an 18-year journey. And even after children are grown, there are parents who walk away and show back up after a child's grown and still come in and do wreak emotional havoc by not being there or by returning or by just, libido is not a good judge of human character. And when we see someone and we're sexually attracted to them, often we try then to fit the square peg into the round hole, no sexual innuendo intended. But, we see this person and we desire them physically. And so then we want them to meet all our relationship needs, whether or not they do. And we start trying to mold this human being into whom we want and need them to be to have this relationship, when in truth, there was chemistry, but nothing else, no other resonance, not really the ability to get along, not liking each other, not having anything in common, or somebody had an emotional or psychological situation that was making the two not mesh, and somebody else could work out, but the two just don't mesh, but you keep trying to make it work, and then you end up staying together, and you end up with children, and the children are just born into this cacophony of chaos. And it's, your sex drive is your sex drive. Judging someone's human character, who you get along with, who makes a good long-term partner for you, who you would want to procreate with, you would want to parent with, however you are embodied, whichever roles you would be playing in that co-parenting and rearing children space. Think about the people. If you have not already made these choices, if you're still in a reproductive window in which you would potentially have this situation happen again, when you date someone, think about all sorts of things. Think about their kindness, their compassion, their ability to be kind to children, their moral and ethical capacity not to harm children and young things that are more innocent or less powerful than them. If they would harm you because you in some way have less power in the relationship, they would certainly harm someone young and unable to defend themselves. Watch how they treat puppies and kittens. Watch not so much, the advice used to be when I was dating, to see how he treats his mother or his parents. And actually the better advice would have been like, do you like his parents? Because at some level, the apple never falls far from the tree, and we all become our parents in very real ways. I am in so many different ways, my mom and my dad. And I, pass that on certainly in my parenting. And also in my partnering. And so whomever you're dating, do you like where they come from? Because there's a lot of things that are just on autopilot in us or implanted in us. We are our own people at birth, as I saw as my mother brought home new babies every year. They did not come home as blank slates. They came home with personalities, and my parents and the effects of history around them put pressure on them to try to mold them, but they're still them. And the baby I knew at 3 days old or 6 months old is still that person in their adulthood. Yet, we're all a whole lot like our parents too. Apples don't fall far from the tree. So as you are picking someone, get to know them, see how they behave, see if they have road rage, see how they behave when they're angry. Don't make them angry on purpose. In order to observe that, just retain some portion of your heart while you get to know them. No one wants you to fall head over heels in love with them at first sight in such a way that you are in no way evaluating whether or not they're right for you. The proper way to get into a relationship is to be attractive. We do need libido. We do need some level of attraction. If we're going to have a romantic sexual relationship, we want to be with that person intimately. Yet, you don't have to fall in love all the way in the first few months. You can watch, you can observe, you can get to know, you can listen to their stories. Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. It's a quote from Jesus from the Gospels of the New Testament or the Christian scriptures, but it's not untrue. It is a truth to say, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Anyone you're dating is telling you who they are. And if you see red flags, salute that flag and let the person go while you may. The person who's right for you will be right for you from the door. And I will end with this story. There's a book that I think I often have given a copy away in my office, in my spiritual counseling practice across the years. I think of it as the best relationship book ever written. It is called The Gift of Fear by a man named Gavin de Becker, who is a violence prevention expert. He premiered it on Oprah a couple of decades ago and has been back on to talk about it any number of times with Oprah. You can find it on Amazon used or whatever other online bookstore used really cheaply. It's called The Gift of Fear. But he makes a point, Gavin de Becker makes a point. He's like, if you walked into, you were in a restaurant and you just, you needed to go to the restroom. This is back when we could go to restaurants because I'm making this recording during the pandemic. But if you went into the restroom, you wouldn't leave your wallet lying unattended with no one watching it on the table. You would take it with you. You wouldn't leave it to be snatched, right? And this is certainly not unthinkingly or unintentionally. And so he says, yet, we will know where our wallet is. We will guard our purse, our wallet. He said, but we will give our hearts away without ever evaluating whom we're handing them to. And he's like, your heart is so much more valuable than your wallet. You can replace your driver's license. You can replace your credit cards. You can call those banks. You can do whatever. And many times they'll make it up. But your heart, you need to get to know someone before you fully give it away. You need to judge their character. And if you are in a reproductive age when you might unintentionally get pregnant, or you might intentionally want to procreate with someone, then all the more reason to not give your heart away to someone that you don't have evidence would treat your children well. Be blessed. Till next time.